Okay, part two of the overview. I guess it wasn't as quick as I thought it would be. We're kind of in the middle of my room now, and here is what I call my stamping table. I would do my art journaling here too, and collage journaling usually. But sitting right next to it is just a folding tray table, and it has my glue sticks and my paper cutter here. This little tablet here is what I glue on so that I'm not getting glue on the surface, and I just can rip off a page and go on to the next page when it gets gluey. So when I'm sitting at my table here, I can just spin my chair around and turn around and cut and glue so that I don't have all this clutter on my table, because my table gets very cluttered when I'm making a journal. So on this table I have this stamp pad holder from Stampin' Up, which is fantastic, and all of these ink pads are Stampin' Up ink pads. And there's a tray on top, and it holds some refills and some mementos. A friend of mine got into paper crafting too, and then when she decided she didn't want to do it anymore, she gave me a bunch of her stuff, including these little memento things, and I never use them. I don't even think about them. So if you know of anything that's special about these, let me know, because if they're not so much different from my big pads, then I might as well just get rid of them. And I have little tiny stamps up here, like what you would put on the back of your cards, lovingly stamped by, things like that. So that's what that is. And then I'm sitting down here. I have this little metal bowl that I got at a flea market. I just spilled my stuff. And this just holds little phrases that I cut out of magazines or out of my day planner that I use in my little collage journal that I've shown in videos. So I have my little phrases right there whenever I'm ready. And you will see where I keep all the images that I use in there. So that stays there, and then this little plastic lid holds the little pieces that I use in most of my journals, the uniquely handmade, the little thing that I sign, put my signature on, this book belongs to, and other kinds of book plates there that can go in the fronts of journals. And of course my paper towels. I have to have my paper towels. I have one on both tables. This little letter holder holds my little mini collage books and a stamp cleaner. I have some corrugated cardboard here for inking up and stamping lines. They need to be cut, but I just put them there. There's another stamp cleaner. There's a little craft colored cardboard box that I got at Michael's years ago, and it has just some things I use when I'm at my stamping table. This is a nail polish cleaner that I use to clean off my acrylic blocks. And this is the stamp cleaner refill for this bottle. And I keep my little Tim Holtz distressors here with the little pads that go on them, glue sticks and things like that up here. And then in the drawer I have all the acrylic blocks. A couple of pencil holders here. Well, it's just a little jar. Pencil holder for scissors and rulers and pens and all of that stuff. Then I have this, it's a cupboard stepped organizer to put in your pantry or something, but I use it for my distress inks and my StazOns. And underneath it has a few other little things like my Inka Gold. Oh, this doesn't belong down there. These are my little StazOns. I love the colors that they came out with, so I have a stack of them. And my embossing tool is right here. Right above this, I have a set of 4 shelves. So there's my stamping magazines, which I don't buy anymore, and my art journaling magazines. Tools that I don't use often are on the top shelf. And then this has acrylic paints, the little craft paints, and I have a couple containers that have various markers and pens and things. And then this basket and all of these baskets have the stamps that don't come on wooden blocks. My goodness, I have a lot of stamps. This box just holds homemade cards. I don't make very many cards anymore because I'm too busy making junk journals, but I do have some in there. Colored pencils in there. Some special or just decorative stamps. I don't really use the Mary Engelbreit stamp here that says Princess of Quite a Lot, but I like it, so I have it there. Whoops, almost dropped my camera. And these are just some special decorative stamps, and then these are the ones I use very often. This book belongs to, The Story Begins, and things like that. And then I have this, it was a planter. I bought it on clearance years ago, and I have my Stampin' Up! Markers in there. And then a little metal bucket with my foam brushes, and they're usually used for Mod Podging. And I told you I make use of every inch that I can, so underneath my table I have another drawer unit, and it has just some supply, whatever supplies I would use at this table for stamping and art journaling. There's paint brushes and cards for scraping paint and stuff onto your work, and sponges and things like that. And here are my sprays, color sprays. Over here is all the stuff I use for collages. There's a lot of magazine images here, and I'll go into more detail when I do the organizing videos. I'm probably going into more detail than I really intended to, and that's why I'm breaking this up into two parts. So now we're in the next, the other wall here of my room, the third wall, and there's a wicker basket here with all different sizes of envelopes and some more plastic units. This one has stickers. This one just has scrap paper that I use while I'm stamping and painting. Again, some more of those mementos and some color. I don't use these ink pads, but they're there. I have embossing powder, and I have my Martha Stewart doily punch pieces and the circle edge punch, and recipe cards, and 6x6 and 8x8 paper pads. Then I have this armoire and this paper storage unit, which I purchased at Sam's Club many years ago. On top is just some things for decorating. I made that teddy bear up there, a jointed bear out of an old torn quilt. But down here I have all of my 8x8, or 8x12, no. What's that size? 8x10. 8x10 cardstock. A lot of that is Stampin' Up! Cardstock. And like I said, I don't make very many cards anymore, so I don't use a lot of that. But I've got my craft cardstock here. So the stickers that are too long to fit in that drawer. These little pieces of craft paper, black and white, and just mulberry paper up here, vellum, metallic paper, my grunge board and grunge paper. And these sets are cards and envelope sets that have been there a while. There's my label maker that I've been using today. Sorry, I hope I didn't just make you dizzy. And these are some pieces of chipboard that a friend of mine, the same friend who gave me the ink pads, her sister gave me all these pieces of chipboard. So these are the smaller pieces. I have bigger ones inside here, and I use them for making my covers. So inside here, and I'm so pleased I finally got this. Oh, I apologize. I dropped my camera, but it's on my neck on a strap. So here is paper that I use for junk journals. Here are the larger, like tablets, and there's music ledger in here, plus ledger paper that's not vintage, graph paper, tracing paper, tablets, things like that. This is medium size papers that have come out of various things that I can use. These are all papers that can be written on in junk journals, and then smaller papers here. And then over here I have my time cards and the little pages that children would learn to write. Back there is just my roll of trash can liners, plus a couple of the large bags that you get from the craft stores that can be used for trash can liners. And then on this shelf I have my Big Shot my dies are in here, and the accessories for the Big Shot are in here. And these are the special, the papers that are made, they have the holes, they go in the 3-ring binder, the little 3-ring binders. So I just didn't have a place to put those papers, so they're right there. And then here are art journaling supplies, and my Mod Podge and gesso and things like that. Some palettes are sitting right on top of this, and then I have my watercolor crayons, my paints, and other kinds of color supplies. These are the backs and fronts of the paper pads. I use them when I'm art journaling to kind of, I put them under my pages so that the page behind it doesn't get a mess. And these are stencils. Small, medium, large stencils. Plus there's a stencil hanging there, some stencils hanging there. Oop. So that's that. And then the bottom section has this is a big stack of 12 by 12 chipboard that my friend's sister, who is also my friend, gave to me, in some smaller pieces of chipboard. More book covers. These are larger. I would use them with my Bind It All and make smash book type. They're not the kind that I would make a spine and stitch things in. Some little binder things I need to make things with, and this little drawer unit has miscellaneous, has Scrabble tiles and game pieces and tissue paper in those. And then down here are my O-rings for my Bind It All, and then this has just miscellaneous pieces, just some miscellaneous stuff in there, and it's not going back in. Okay, let's just move on. So here I just have my tripod waiting for when I do a sit-down video. My printer and all my papers and inks are down here. And then here's my sewing center. My sewing machine is on this table. And when we cleaned out my parents' garage, I found these two. I'm going to get up close so you can see. I did these when I was young with markers. They're just dots. All the coloring is done with dots. And I loved Holly Hobby at that time, so I think these are probably copied from Holly Hobby images. But anyway, my dad had them in plastic, and I guess he had them hanging up in his garage, where he worked, his workshop. So anyway, they're here now. So here I have, these are the fabrics that I use when I make books. And I will go into detail on that too in another video. And here's a larger basket for larger pieces of fabric. And back there I have sewing patterns and fabrics and my sewing box. And then just sewing supplies here, threads and interfacing and things like that. All the little tools you need. And my sewing machine. My sewing machine died on me, so I just bought a really cheap one at Joann's this year. And then this is where I sit most of the time, and this is where I work on junk journals. So just quickly, I have wire shelves here. On the top there's not much because I can't reach that shelf without a stool. And let me just show you, and I will go into detail about what's there in the other videos. I have things that I can reach while I'm sitting here. I try to keep as much as I can right to hand to make it as easy as I can to get things done. And this is where I do my work. There's a lot of stuff crammed around here. This little box I put on my table when I'm working on a junk journal, and it has little pieces for whatever project I'm working on. Small, medium, and large. This is the project I'll be working on as soon as I get these videos done. Again, there's more storage under the table, which I will go into, and more storage next to me under the table. And my Cricut sits right here. When I want to use it, I usually have to clear the space so I can turn it around and use it, but it's right there. My husband made this shelf for me to hang my most used punches on, and he put a shelf above it so I can put on the border punches there. So those punches are the ones I use the most, and then the ones I don't use that much or I just didn't have room for are over here. I have a few hooks on this wall to hang just little decorative things, or right there is my rub-ons and my clock. So, oh, I love this. I bought this on clearance at Walmart, or Michael's. I don't know if it was on clearance, but it was a really good price. And it's awesome because I can sit right here at my desk, and when I need washi tape, I just reach up and the drawers tip down so I can see what's there. I love that. So, hope you enjoyed seeing my room, and it won't be today probably, but I will get to all of the smaller areas of organization so you can see how I actually have things stored. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.